Welcome to another episode of Behind the Visual, a podcast where I interview the people responsible for creating all the videos and images you see out in your world every single day. Today, my guest is American actor Burgess Jenkins. Burgess has been in the business a long time and has done some really great stuff, including Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington and The Reaping as Hilary Swank's husband, as well as he has been on Young and The Restless, Army Wives, a bunch of other stuff that I'm sure you guys have seen. So sit back, take a listen. I think you're really going to enjoy this podcast. First of all, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate you doing it.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
When did you get into directing? How long have you been doing that?
So I guess I directed my first movie about 10 years ago, and it's something I sort of fell into. So yeah. I've been in business now for about 25 years, and it's something of a natural progression, I suppose, because as a storyteller, if you really involve yourself beyond just being in front of the camera and you get into and entrenched in what goes on, behind the camera, which I did in some producing capacities early on, it just one thing sort of led to the next. And some friends of mine asked me if I would direct a script that they had put together and they found a little bit of funding for. And so I did. And it went really well. And it was something I found that I really enjoyed. So yeah, here we are a few movies later.
So between directing and acting, which do you like better?
Well, they're so different. I like them both for different reasons. As an actor, you get to do just this kind of singular thing, and that I'm completely enveloped in this character and what makes them tick, in sharing, my relationship with the character through the lens.
Do you do the whole method thing? Because I remember your wife saying that at some point you did, and she had to tell you to calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That was years ago.
That was years ago.
Yeah.
So I do, but I think method gets this.
I guess I want to know is, do you do it to the extent that I heard Jim Carrey did it to on Man on the Moon, where he wouldn't respond to you unless you called him by
his
character's name? Yeah, whatever his character's name in the movie.
Right.
Was.
Yeah. No, I don't do that.
Well, that's good.
And yeah, I mean, you got to be able to be somebody you want to work with. You don't want to make it difficult. No, so it's funny though. It just depends on how far removed from you the character is. If you read the script and you go, okay, well, it's basically me.
Yeah.
This character's very much like me. I'm not going to go in and into this character and try and live in this space that's separate from me. It's just basically 98% me walking around. So that's what I'm going to do. But certain characters, they're way, way over here. They're nothing like you except maybe just some of their emotional connections, right? They might be bitter or they might be lonely or whatever. And you can connect to their emotional state, but what they do as a person and what got them there is so far removed from you. So the further they are from me, the more I feel like I need to live the character, because stepping in and out of characters like that, it depends on the actor. But for me, I feel like parts and pieces of the nuances, of the little things that make the character rich, they get left out when you go in and out of a character that's way over here from you. I have to stay there to keep exploring those things. And I don't mean 24 hours a day, but for a big part of it, surely while I'm on set, because it keeps me sort of in that mindset and therefore experiencing their world through that lens. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you handle it when you do cuts and you have to do the same scene over and over? Say it's an emotional scene where you're extremely angry or you're sad or whatever, and you're doing 5, 10, 15, cuts of the same thing, doing over and over and over again. How do you stay emotionally attached, and into a scene at that time? Or so at take 10, how you bringing out that same emotion as you were in take one. Because I'm sure by take 10, like, my God, can we not just move on from this?
I'm exhausted. Aren't we done?
Yeah.
Yeah. The trick for me is to have options on what gets me there. You know, every scene that you're a part of, there's a piece of you that relates to it. If you're doing it right, you know, you're not just saying a bunch of words and hoping they sound good. You're emotionally connected to the reason that you're speaking. So, you know, if I've got something where I know it's a big scene, you know, it's 2.5 pages, whatever, 4 pages, and it's back and forth, and it's a whole lot of heavy stuff. I know they're going to shoot a master, and then I know they're going to move in, and then they're going to do coverage, and the way that they're going to do it, make sure that we really have all the possibilities. There's going to be a lot of takes. And so I will have 2 or 3 or maybe 5 or 6 different ways of approaching the scene so that it's always fresh for me. So, like, for instance, let's say you and I are doing a scene, and let's say we're brothers, and let's say that the, you know, the family home is going to be sold, right? And it's a big emotional thing. Parents died unexpectedly. And so you feel like we got to sell the house. You want money. You need money, whatever. And I'm emotionally invested because you're the bad guy here.
Right. Absolutely. I'll take that. Just give me my money. Let's move on. Hey, this is hitting very close to home, by the way, between my wife and her brother, I think. I think when her dad dies, it might be a similar, let's sell this place. He's like, no, let's keep it. So, all right, so go on.
So this is maybe a little too close to home. Do I need to change the...
No, keep it going. I can relate better.
So it's going to be a real thing is what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're going to have it out. We're going to have a little talk it out here. So anyway, so let's say, you know, you want to sell the house because you guys need money or whatever. And for me, I'm more emotionally invested in it. It means the world to me. And I think it's a terrible idea. And so we're at odds over this. Well, and it's a big blow up scene. If I come into the scene with, let's say my preparation is, let's say I couldn't relate to that as a person. So I do have a brother though. So let's say I was getting into an argument with my brother over something entirely different. Let's just say it was over the way that he wasn't spending enough time with mom and dad or something like that. Or he felt that I should move back from LA because, you know, the family is, you know, dad's sick and I'm living in LA and he can't possibly do all this by himself or whatever. If I keep switching my reason for being there, the emotional value is the same. I'm frustrated with you. You're frustrated with me. We don't see eye to eye. But the reason that I'm coming into the space for me personally is different. And every time I change it, because I'm not going to let the page dictate where I'm coming from. If I let the page dictate where I'm coming from, if I use what's on the page, you know, it says we're upset over the house. Well, let's say that doesn't mean anything to me. Well, now I'm just spitting out words and hoping that they're good. But if I change all my reasons for coming, well, every take is going to have something fresh and different like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
There you go.
Okay. Well, good. That explains it. Because I've always kind of wondered how that happens. Because I know you see it and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. But how many, you know, takes did it take to get to that, you know, to that one? So back to the directing thing.
Yeah.
The first time you did it compared to the way you just said you were working on one right as this whole COVID thing hit. The first time you directed compared to the last thing you directed, can you tell a big difference to yourself, at least in growth of what changed, or had you already seen quite a bit by the point you directed your first one that there's not a whole lot changing?
Yeah, I would say that I noticed some differences for sure. I mean, experience, you hope you're growing, of course. I would say I'm more streamlined.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about directing anything, but especially directing something that's lower budgeted, and, you know, they definitely are. I mean, anything under $1 million is pretty darn low budget, and anything under $500,000 is just, you know, shoestring. And so, you know, when you're shooting like that, you don't have time to waste. You got to move. And so it's incumbent upon you as the director to keep things moving. And when you've got, when you got a big budget, you only really have one job. I say that one job as a director. You got a lot of jobs, but you have a job to tell this story. When you're on a small budget, many people are wearing lots of hats. And as a director, you're going, okay, I got to be more involved in these other facets of production that make it hard to focus on one thing. So I think what I've done as I've done more directing is to streamline that process and to be better about the story needs to be told. Everybody else needs to help me help them stay in their lanes, and vice versa. Help me be able to stay in my own and really power through, instead of feeling like I got to fix this problem. I got to fix this problem. I got to help with that. I say fix, assist, whatever, so that.
Did you see that Ron Howard masterclass? Have we watched that?
No.
Dude, it's really good. Yeah, he does this whole masterclass on directing, and I've only directed one thing in my life, and I'm not gonna say much about it. That was more than like a 30-second piece. I've directed a bunch of little things, but anything more than like a minute and a half, I went and did one, and I've definitely learned after watch. I did it before, like years before I watched the Ron Howard thing. I was like, wow, that's why it turned out the way it did. but yeah, it was. There's a lot to it, man.
He directs in order, doesn't he? Doesn't he direct sequentially? He directs the script as it is.
I don't know. He didn't say in there,
okay.
But I mean, he was talking about how every little thing that he was talking about, all the different little things that he looks into before they even start shooting, and then how what they do. So like with him, I guess maybe I don't know if you have time on the smaller budget, but do you sit there and do you run the blocking out the camera moves and all that stuff ahead of time with all the cameramen and that kind of deal?
I do. What's hard about it is that this is really hard for me, because as an actor first, I really love to find the organic nature of a scene. I love to be, there's nothing better for me as an actor than for a director to come over and go, I love what you did in the audition. I love what you bring to the character. Be free, and just turn me loose. I love for a director to go, we trust you, and just turn me loose.
I like the same thing on my end too. When you have a client go, hey, we like what you do, shoot it. So,
yeah,
I understand.
Exactly. It's the best. So it's a little harder when you're on some super small budget and you feel like what I want to do is say, hey, crew, come over here. All the different departments come over here. Watch this scene. Guys, put it on its feet. And then we start watching, and, the actors move how they move, and we do a rehearsal or two. And then we say, well, that's going to be harder to light. This is going to be harder to move the camera over here. This wall is, in our way. So let's run it again and find a new space. That makes it a lot harder when you have no time and money. On bigger budgeted stuff I've done, that's exactly what they do. They go, hey guys, come on in. You do what you do, and we'll figure it out. We'll take down this wall. We'll put lights over here. But on this kind of budget, it's like, okay, what makes the most sense?
Yeah.
It still has to be beautiful. It still has to be artistic. But what makes the most sense? So you end up saying, okay, guys, I hate to take away a little bit of your organic nature, but can you work in this space for me? Can you find this mark for me? Can you find that light for me? And actors are, you hire and work with collaborative, compliant people, and they're not going, no, but here,
right,
sure,
yeah,
of course, will help. So anyway, it helps, but you hate to do that to them. And for me, though, I'm also like an editor's nightmare in a lot of ways, because if
are you in the editing room?
Actors, what's that?
Do you go into the editing room, or is it you mostly
I do.
out of it?
I definitely, sure, of course, but as much as I can. But when I say I'm an editor's nightmare, it's not because I'm hovering over their shoulder so much as when I'm on set, I do something that's very unusual with regard to the work itself. So once I've given action, and I don't even use that term, I just like to say whenever you're ready, and they start working, if after they've finished the take, but they're still in it, they're still in it. Usually some of the worst stuff as an actor is when somebody goes action and they're trying to find the scene, they're trying to work their way into the scene, and like the first third of it just kind of stinks. I'm like, okay, don't cut, just keep rolling. Let's talk for a second, guys. How do you feel about this? In that moment, don't you tell me what you're thinking there? And we're still rolling through all this stuff. And that's the great thing about digital is I'm not wasting film real. And I'm sure the editor's going, this is killing me. I got to find all this stuff. It's like a needle in a haystack. It's hard enough. So So I'll do that, and I'll run like 2 or 3 takes within one action and cut. And I'll say, okay, great. Let's pick up, that third one was terrific. Let's just pick up the end. Let's just pick up that end from, say, well, where do you guys want to pick it up from? And I'll do that, and we'll pick up some dialogue, and we'll start. And then I'll turn to script supervisor and be like, okay, take 3, take 2 within take 3, and then the button on take 5 within take 3. And they're writing all these notes down.
Oh,
it's a nightmare. I mean, finding that stuff is so hard to do. But at the same time, though, you get some absolute gold doing that. You just turning actors loose and saying improv where you feel like it, roll into that. I'm not going to cut. They don't feel like they have to stop and start.
Right.
And it's so freeing because you don't ever feel like there's any pressure. I want everybody to feel like just go. So anyway, yes, it's an editing nightmare, but it's fun. So, and it works.
Maybe find a way to help the editor out and have somebody jump in front of the camera as you're about to roll again, like with a little sign or whatever.
yeah, it's take 3, number 4, second half.
And they're just wrangling it. And then get out of the camera.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while they're sitting there in the editing and looking at it, the guy's just looking at me just with hate on his face. So, yeah.
Oh, well, hey, if it gets a better,
end result.
Performance out of the actor, better end result. Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
It sounds like it's a good idea.
Yeah, and sometimes one of the best things to do is after I finish taking, I'm like, I'm happy. Are you happy, or you want to do something else? We're not cutting. You want to cut? You want to do something else? Almost every time, if you give a good actor the opportunity, like, yeah, let me pick up one, and it's almost every time it's almost better. I mean, it's always better almost every time. Yeah.
Well, I think that's great, man.
Yeah, it works. It's cool.
All right. Well, now you need to talk to one of these major studios into letting you direct something.
I don't know. You want to turn me loose with $20 million? That'd be interesting. It'd be a lot of fun.
Well, if you get it, you let me know.
I will.
I need to get the union card for on-set stills, but I don't want to have to go through all the crap you got to get to. But if the director really wants you,
there you go.
You can skip over all that.
You can.
God knows how many years of work to get to it.
Yeah, skip over it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you've heard it.
Yeah. What made you want to be an actor, man? I mean, at what point were you just like, this is it, that's what I want to do?
Wow.
Were you always a kid who was like pretending to be something and running around the house, annoying the hell out of your parents?
I think I was annoying the hell out of my parents anyway. I don't know if it had to do with acting, but no. I always loved the idea of being a storyteller. I always enjoyed things about that. I did some plays and stuff when I was a kid, but they didn't really speak to me. That wasn't really my bag. But as I got older, I started to realize the distinction between film and television and theater, and it's big. There's a lot of difference between the two in a lot of ways. And I read Michael Caine's book, Acting in Film. And those two things, the reading of the book and sort of the realizing the distinction between the two, piqued my curiosity. And I just started throwing myself into it. I loved what I discovered. I moved to LA and I just started training intensely everywhere I could to gobble up as much information as possible. And I trained for off and on for probably about 8 or 9 years. And it was just an incredible exploratory process. And I went to college for psychology. And so something about human nature has always intrigued me. And so putting my love of human nature together with the idea of storytelling and living out these characters. And I think what's most provocative, most interesting, exciting about the process is the realization that when you're out in the real world, there's a way you have to live, because otherwise the world would be chaos. If you just went around doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, that would be no good. But as an actor, within reason, you can kind of do anything you want. There's a great quote that we have on our studio wall from Oscar Wilde, and it says, "I love acting. It's so much more real than life." And the reason it's great is if you take it at face value, it's true. You can fall in love with the girl. You can, tell the boss that you can't stand them. You can, whatever you want to do through your own creativity
Yeah.
through the lens of you can do whatever you want. And so when you start to realize that, not only is it freeing and exciting, but it also makes for the best characters. And the reason that people relate to what's going on in good storytelling, I just looked at my TV as if you could see it. What's going on in good storytelling um, is that the reason you're relating to these people is they're sharing the things that you are thinking and feeling. You know, things you might not actually say or do a lot of time, or maybe that you would, you're relating to that, you know, because they're living it out. And so good writing, good directing, paired with great, I say living as opposed to acting, great experience from the actors, really makes for compelling storytelling. And so I guess that's a long way to go to answer your question. How did I get into this? But it was a progression of sort of discovering all these things and realizing this is something I love and I can't live without.
Do you think psychology helped you with that? Through your
Oh my
degree?
gosh.
Yeah.
Immensely. Yeah. It's funny. I got out of school and I thought, I'm going to be an actor. Why did I just waste all this time and money on getting a degree? And then I came to realize it was very providential that I really had an advantage in a lot of ways because I understood human nature from studying it and maybe in ways that a lot of people didn't. And that helped me to not just dissect characters, but make interesting choices about what made them tick and then find my connections in that space. So
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I would think
yeah.
it could definitely help you. How long were you in LA before you got your first role?
Few years.
What were you doing before you got it? I mean, I know you said you're taking classes and all that stuff, but how are you making money?
Working at American Eagle.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you
Working at
go.
American Eagle. I was modeling some, as you know.
Yeah.
And that helped. That certainly helped pay some bills. I was very fortunate with that. I booked some commercials along the way. Before I booked anything that was substantial in that respect, like film and television wise, I booked some commercials and gosh, they saved my bacon. I don't know how many times I was like
Yeah.
down to nickels and the couch cushions going, how am I going to put gas in my car? And, you know, a residual check would come in from a commercial I did or something. And I'd be like, oh, I can eat this month. Thank goodness.
Oh God.
So, yeah. There was definitely a lot of that stuff in the early years, which was great. You know, I mean, I look back on it like I think a lot of people do. The struggle is motivating. And it's, you feel like you've earned it, you know, when you've gone through a lot of the tough stuff to get to the other side and actually book some things and start working and making a success out of this, you know, nobody can take that away from you, that you really worked hard and you earned it. And I think that's super cool.
So when you got the Remember the Titans gig,
yeah.
what did that, first of all, how did you get it? And then second, did that really help boost your career and push it forward? Or was it one of those things where you get, because I've had stuff where you get, oh my God, I'm shooting for this. This is going to be it. Everybody's going to want to book me after this. And then it's like crickets afterwards because there's like, all right, well, you did it, whatever. So I was just wondering if it was one of those things that really helped you and helped push your career forward, or if it was one of those things, oh, he was in Remember Titans. That's cool. And then it still came down to, you know, you in the end and all the auditions.
Well,
and all that
it always
stuff.
comes down to you in the end. You know, I don't think that there's ever a career maker that, well, no, I mean, I can't say ever. I think 98% of all actors would tell you that there's not a silver bullet. There's not like a career maker necessarily that's going to just pave the way for you. There are those stories, but they're anomalies. For me, Titans was, I mean, obviously it was huge. It was my first big break to speak of. I'd done some other stuff beforehand, but nothing of that magnitude. And I would say more than anything, it helped shape me as an actor because I got to work with, you know, just getting to be around Denzel and see how he was working and how he functioned as an actor, but also as a person on set. I think he imparted so much more knowledge than he has any idea he did, just by virtue of taking all of us young actors under his wing, being an example. I mean, Mark, he treated the assistants and the extras on set the same way he treated the director. I mean,
That's
just
nice to hear.
kind and reverent. but stalwart. You know, he was also somebody who was no nonsense about the work, and you know, he showed up prepared, and it was just amazing. So I got that out of it for sure. And then, you know, because Titans is something of an iconic movie, it certainly didn't hurt that I'd come off of it, but you know, the business is definitely a "what have you done for me lately" kind of thing. Yeah. So without question. So, you know, once you've done something and it's not in the theaters anymore and not in recent memory, it's okay. Well, now what are you doing? So certainly it didn't hurt, but it still keeps falling on your shoulders to keep producing and creating and, you know, all that. So
how often are you getting a check from that thing?
Quarterly.
Every
quarter. I think every quarter for 20 years. Yeah.
That's good, man.
Play the crap out of it. I mean, you know, Titans is always on. I get jokes from friends from college and neighbors and so forth. They'll send me screenshots like, guess what's on? Yeah. It's always on. So it is, which is neat. I mean, it's super cool. I mean, having my daughter be like, she'll be flipping channels. She's like, click, click. Daddy, you're on TV. Click, click. And she doesn't stop.
Right.
Whatever. You know. She couldn't care less.
Well, that's good, man. The residuals, I'm sure that's nice. Whether it's $5, you know, or
I was going to say
$5,000 or whatever, you know.
I was going to say sometimes residuals are a cup of coffee. So, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. No, I'm never complaining. It is certainly a nice benefit of it, but you got to work pretty hard sometimes to get to the point where you have those residuals. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. My cousin is, he was the, Randy Jones. He was the original cowboy for the Village People. And
oh, wow.
We were talking years ago, and he was talking about he still gets residuals for every time, you know, that song is played or they use it in anything. He's like, I basically could just sit on my ass and not do anything just based on the residuals of Macho Man and YMCA coming in, you know, every quarter.
I hope that's his license plate, Macho Man. It absolutely should be.
He's in New York. I don't even know if he has a car. They've got a place in Florida now, but he should. Everybody knows it. There was an article one time that's like, everybody in New York should have one of Randy Jones's business cards, because we were in a cab going somewhere, and he gave the cabbie his business card. He was like, "Hey, man," and like handing him the card. And I was like, "I don't know what this dude. I mean, it's nice of you, but what's he gonna do? Call you up and say, 'Hey, come play my kid's party?' I don't know."
Show up in the cowboy outfit today? Yeah. I don't think you want that.
But dude, we were the interview I did with him, I went and met him down in the Outer Banks, and he had just the day before had been at some elementary school because he was down there for some kind of event, and somebody he knew asked him to come to the elementary school because the kids had been listening to YMCA learning their alphabet. So he put on the hat and the boots and whatever, and showed up at in kindergarten or first grade or wherever it was. And there was a cowboy. That's awesome. Showed like all the pictures.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. But he loves it, man. So
hey, gotta love it. It's like,
how much research do you do?
Your Letterman's jacket or something. What's that?
Yeah, exactly. How much research do you do when you are getting ready to take on a role?
Obviously it's case dependent. Like I was saying in the beginning of our talk, if the character's right next to me, if I read it and like, geez, I would say this, I would do this, I would think this. I try to do the right kind of work to break down the arc of the character and what's going on. And otherwise I get out of the way, because it's something I would do and think and shape and feel. So I'm not going to overanalyze it and turn it into a pretzel that it doesn't need to be. That being said, if it's somebody who's very disparate from me, I'm a preparation monster. Something that in my classes we talk about all the time is I bang the drum of ownership and what ownership means. And you and I could talk for hours about that, but you really don't want to do that. But basically the concept of ownership is, if you think about something in your own life, right? Just your daily life walking around, your relationship with your wife or your kids or your friends or whatever. If I said, hey, tell me about your relationship with your best friend, talk to me about that for 45 minutes straight. Easily. You could do that all day long. Tell me stories about when you went fishing or riding motorcycles. I mean, you could go on and on about all that stuff. because you have ownership over that relationship. It means so much to you. So if you're playing a character that is really far removed from you, it is a very easy trap to walk into as an actor, to not have ownership over what the character is thinking and feeling and doing. And instead, it's execution of a perception of what they're doing. And that shows up. It shows up in your auditions. It shows up on frame. It feels like an empty suit. It feels like somebody just turning in a bunch of words. They don't feel it. There's no ownership there. So the further away you are from the character, the more I dig into not just what is the backstory of this person, but how do I relate to it? And with my students, I call it building a bridge. How are you building your bridge between the concept of a character and breathing real life into that character? So again, long answer to your question, but how much preparation I do is case dependent. And if it's, somebody like I played John Wesley, and John Wesley was the founder of the Methodist Church. And he, lived in the 1700s and rode 250,000 miles on horseback trying to preserve the Protestant Reformation or the Protestant movement, And I mean, how much further removed from another human being could I be from that guy? So I did all kinds of research into who he is and what his life was like, and try not to read too many different opinions because that just made for a muddled mess. But that kind of thing. And I lived in the character by and large a lot of the time and that kind of stuff. And then I played a character
horse.
What's that?
Did you have to ride a horse?
Oh yeah, a lot. So I took.
Did you already know how to do that, or did you?
Yeah, I could ride, but I wasn't like a proficient rider. I was a good rider, but I wasn't somebody who could just take a horse and go wild. But so I took some more lessons to get more proficient at that, and just even so much as the way he would walk and talk, he was very erect and very authoritative, extraordinarily opinionated, not an easy person to be around, pretty difficult guy. Not somebody you would describe as likable, but efficient. He got the job done. So I had to figure this guy out. So like that. It just depends. And I did my character on One Tree Hill. I mean, he was me. That guy was me. I did a lot of work on, because he was a coach, basketball coach, and I know more about other sports than I do about basketball. So I did a lot of research on, really understanding the game better. And maybe some coaching mentality, but the way he would function reminded me a lot of me. So I didn't do nearly as much with the relationship with the character. So like that,
Okay. You said your students, you teach? You teach
acting?
Yeah.
I've got a studio called Actors Group that I've had for 13 years. And it is my love, my passion. I love it. Yeah. Maybe as much as acting, and it's probably even more rewarding than acting, because as much as I get out of being an actor and enjoying that process, watching other people who have a passion for it and know where to really develop that passion into a talent and then turn it loose on the world, it is incredibly rewarding to teach them how to do that, watch them go through the process, and then do it for themselves and have dream fulfillment. I mean, I would have given anything to have had that when I was a teenager or young adult and had it here. So, yeah.
Is that in LA or in North Carolina?
It's North Carolina,
too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's in North Carolina. I go back and forth, and I have other teachers who will teach with me when I'm not, or for me when I'm not around, but or when I'm filming. But yeah, it's in North Carolina. I try to
most of your time in North Carolina.
I'm sorry.
Do you spend most of your time in North Carolina?
I try to home base in North Carolina as much as I can. Yeah, my family's here. My extended family's here. My wife's extended family is here, and so raising our daughter here we both grew up with our family around, and I kind of couldn't imagine raising my daughter without extended family around. So yeah.
So you have a place in LA that you?
Yeah, go back and forth to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
LA is not bad. I mean,
no,
I like the weather.
No.
I like the weather in LA.
Weather's amazing.
Yeah. So you're quarantined in North Carolina then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't get stuck.
We're home based here. Yeah, but
good.
The weather here has been ridiculous. I mean, it's been phenomenal for the last 7 weeks. So.
Oh yeah. I'm not.
If you're going to be stuck, no, if you're going to be stuck, it's the right time of year to be stuck. So
Yeah, it's been good, man. I've been very happy about it. Um, so you do TV, you do movies, you do weeklies, you've done dailies because you've done what Young and Restless, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure
What
did.
I mean, compare all three of those, like doing the weekly, the daily, the weekly, and then the movie. I mean, as far
Ooh.
as your preparation, the shooting schedule, all that stuff, man, how's that got to be? I'm assuming Young and the Restless was just not easy.
Bro, you're the first person to say that. You're the first person. Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Well, I
so,
can't imagine
so
having to film every day, new scenes, all that stuff. It's not like you get to prep for a week or whatever, or it's just
it,
nonstop. I would think.
it is crazy. Whenever anybody asks me questions like this, what's hardest, that kind of thing, what's most challenging, I always say, oh gosh, Young and Restless. I mean,
Yeah.
hands down, blows everything away. And they're like, really? Heck yeah, really. Um, I mean, the
Oh my
the amount
god.
of work, so we'll start with that. The dailies. So something that's you don't think about if you're watching a soap, I mean, maybe some people do, I didn't, is that there's no exposition, there's no setup. It's you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk. Next location, you talk, I mean, that's all it is. It's just two
Right. Yeah.
people, I mean, talking and interacting, and that's it. There's not cars driving down streets, there's not people running with guns, there's none of that stuff.
Yeah. I
It's
hadn't
just
thought
talking.
about that. You're right. Yeah.
Neither did
Wow.
I did not
Yeah.
either. So yeah,
Ah.
so I get there and I'm very quickly realizing, first of all, it was trial by fire for me. Here's a little anecdote for you. When I started out, I was taking over the part of Billy Abbott from somebody else.
That's
And
the other thing that blows my mind about soap operas is that a character just changes. Although I guess they did it on um, Last Man Standing. I think they've changed out everybody almost on that show, and
just
it's
about,
weird when
yeah.
people just like change, man. Okay,
And you're
go
like,
ahead.
well, the funny thing is the viewing audience, you're kind of like, all right, now we're doing this. Okay. So, because I watched Last Man Standing, I was seeing the same thing. I was like, oh, she's new.
I still want to know where the
And
Asian
a
girl
family
came
member.
from, man. Like, because we missed evidently when it started back, and they brought in that little Asian girl, and I'm like, okay, is she supposed to be like the youngest daughter replacement? But then they mentioned her going off at military school, and I was like, okay, I guess not. Where did this chick come from? I don't even know who she is or why she's there.
I guess
But
that's the thing about coming into a show when you're not watching it, consecutively. You're like, oh, I guess, okay, all right.
yeah, it's
I
like,
got to get caught up to speed here.
yeah, all the daughters have changed completely. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know. You couldn't even at least kept that one a brunette. She had to become a blonde too.
Got to accept the whole new normal.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, so I'm taking over for somebody else, and they said to me, I believe it was in June of that year, and they said to me, so can you be here to start? It was like in 10 days. And I said, I can't. I've got other stuff already lined up and planned. It's going to be about a little over 2 weeks before I can get there. And they said, okay. And they worked with me. Well, I showed up, and the reason they wanted me there in 10 days was because they had a backlog of episodes that they needed to shoot. So I'm trying to remember how many episodes. I can't remember exactly how many episodes, but I do remember the page count because I counted them. They started sending me episode after episode after episode, and I was printing them out and then breaking down all the dialogue and laying them out on my study floor. And my best friend was over here, and he's dying. He's cracking up. He's also an actor. And he's like, is this a joke? Is this supposed to be when are you shooting this? And I said, man, I don't know. I think we're shooting all this in the first week. And I'm not kidding. I started having like an anxiety attack. And I sent an email to one of the producers and just said, are we shooting all of this the first week? Do I really have this correct? He said, yeah, because you're going to have your normal workload, and then you're going to have basically another week and a half of workload because you couldn't come after 10 days. So we got to catch up all of that stuff. Mark, I shot 96 pages of my own dialogue in 4 days. 4 days.
4 days?
96, 4 days. I shot 96 pages in 4 days. It was just my dialogue, not 96 pages of script, 96 pages of my dialogue in 4 days.
Okay, how do you remember all that?
Honestly,
is it like SNL? They got cue cards right behind?
No. There's none of that. And by the way, I wouldn't do it anyway. I could not live with myself that way. So I was like, okay, all right, here we go. And I had about 10 days to prep all this stuff. So I remember we were coming off of a beach trip, and that was where they started sending me episodes. So I'm down at the local Kinko's printing this stuff out. I'm sitting on the beach. I mean, forget the beach trip. Beach trip's over. I'm just sitting there trying to memorize dialogue. And that's all I did for about 18 hours a day, every day for 10 days straight. I got on a plane. I flew to LA. The next morning, I woke up. I walked to CBS Studios, landed, basically went, hey, I'm Burgess. Nice to meet you. And just started spewing scene work. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing I'd ever done in my life as an actor. It was the most intense boot camp. And we finished. And the producer called me and said, so I didn't want to tell you this beforehand because I didn't want you to freak out, but we're pretty sure that that's a record, that we've never shot any one person have that much scene work before, at least in their tenure. And the show's been on the air for 40 years. And I was like thanks a lot. And not only did you do that to me, but you did it to me on my first day on the job. So somehow or another, I did make it through. And I mean, it may not be a record, who knows, but if it is a record, I wouldn't be surprised. It was
I wouldn't either. Dude, you got to have a crazy memory, I would think.
I developed one for that. It was a lot of work, but to everybody else's credit, they were amazing. I mean, the rest of the cast, the crew, they were super supportive and helpful. And they're like, hey man, nice job. You're killing it. Keep it up. You're killing it. I know this is hard. Keep doing it. You know, thanks for being so professional or whatever. And I'm like, thanks, you know, wearily walking out of the studio and going to my place. But yeah, so that's the story about episodic. So episodic, I'd say each episode averages about 12 to 15 pages of your own dialogue for every episode. That's a lot. And you shoot an episode and a quarter. So we would shoot on Young and The Restless, we would shoot an episode and a quarter every single day, 4-day weeks. So basically, you're shooting somewhere around 15 to 17 pages of your own dialogue every day.
How many hours a day?
Well, that's the interesting thing. So it's a normal work day in terms of time. However, I think the days were like 6 to 4:30 or something like that, or 6:30 to 4:30. I can't remember. But the funny thing about it is you could show up, and because of the way they do it, they block shoot everything in that it's shot on a soundstage inside CBS Studios, directly across the hall.
Do they change? They don't really change lighting or anything, do they? It's all just set, right?
Yeah. I mean, they might tweak it a little bit for like somebody's skin tone or whatever, but other than that, it's just like flip the lights on, go. I mean, it's breakneck speed, breakneck fast. And right across the hall is The Price is Right. And occasionally you hear, I mean, like right there, like, you know,
oh wow,
20 feet away right there. And occasionally you'd be in the middle of, you know, doing a scene and you'd hear somebody erupt there, like, you know, won the Showcase Showdown or something. And everybody go nuts. And you're like, all right, hold for Price is Right. All right, okay, and action. And you go.
God.
So that kind of thing would happen. So, you know, because you shoot it like that, like, let's say this is the study, you know, my character's study or office. And let's say I've got 3 scenes in my office and I've got 5 scenes in my bedroom. So let's say my office is first up on the day, and let's say the bedroom is, you know, 6th up on the day. I'd be in at 6:30 in the morning, go through hair and makeup, and then be right out on set. We shoot The Office back to back to back to back. And the way they shoot, by the way, is, you know, there's 3 cameras. There's, you know, one here catching the master, one for my coverage, one for their coverage. They shoot the whole thing in one take. So it's action and cut, and you're sitting there listening, waiting for them to go, yep, good, moving on. They do one take. And if it's good, they move on. They don't shoot it again. And it's
DMP now will give you, at least let you go, you want to shoot that again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I mean, there are often times you'll do a second take. And of course, if there's a problem with something, they'll pick it up or whatever.
Right.
But if it's clean and it's good and they're happy, they will oftentimes do one take. And this is no joke. If you're ever, for all you people out there that are watching, if you watch these shows, take a look at the furniture around the room, because behind like couch cushions and stuff, there is script stuffed down behind the cushions, because as soon as the take is over, they're like, it's good. You're like diving in behind the couch cushions, grabbing this stuff, going, we're done with that one. Okay, run it. You're trying to run it as fast as you can, because they're like, all right, scene two's up. You're like, scene two's up. I just finished a 4-page scene. I got another 2-page scene I haven't looked at, since this morning or whatever, since before that. Just let me run it. So you're running it, and then, they're like, okay, you guys ready? Sure. Why not?
Do you get the week ahead of time? Do you get scripts for the week at the beginning of the week, or they just give them to you daily?
No, you'll get them about, well, let me see if I can remember it. Yeah, you get them about a week in advance, something like that. So it's not like you have no time. I mean, you have time, but you're thrown into it. So, and not every single take and every single episode is like that. Some of it's more low key and some of it moves a little slower, but it's pretty breakneck most of the time.
Well, and if you're doing an episode in a quarter every day, you got to move
every day
quick.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's episodic. That's crazy, dailies. Young and the Restless kind of stuff, daytime. And then, compared to that, TV, like, so I was a regular on Army Wives, and that's 6 days, one episode. 45, 48, 50 pages. So, comparatively speaking, I mean, that is just glacial, you're just creeping along. And it's similar to a lower budgeted movie. Like if you're shooting like $1.5 million, $2 million budget movie, that's about the price of a typical episode of just, regular TV is a couple of million, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. Something like Game of Thrones is probably like 25 million. That doesn't count per episode. And then, I mean, I'm guessing, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. It could be a lot more than that. And then, something that's maybe a little lower budgeted TV where they shoot faster, under $1 million or whatever. But if you're shooting a $2 million episode TV show, per episode TV show, then that takes about 6 days or so, and you got lots of time in between. You're shooting, what is that, like 7 pages a day, something like that. So you got plenty of downtime in between. You're going on location. You're shooting not always just on your sound stage. Like Army Wives shot probably 50-50 sound stage, 60-40, whatever, sound stage versus on location. So sometimes you're traveling locations, and sometimes you're on soundstage. And soundstage, of course, is much more, expeditious, because you're just removing walls and jiggering lights, and that's it. So, slower pace. But then movie making, if it's like I said, if it's
just before you move on with the weeklies, how long? So, say you're doing a season. How long do you guys shoot for that one season?
Okay, so Army Wise was, again, it depends on how many episodes are in a season. Now, I mean, everything's changing. A season on some shows is 6 episodes. On others it's 10. On others it's 12. And it's a dinosaur anymore if you see somebody with 20 episodes like it used to be.
Oh yeah.
10, 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I mean, 8 years ago in some cases. 20 episodes was the norm. 24 episodes, whatever. And now you hardly ever see that by comparison. So seasons vary, obviously. But, if you just do the math on that, you're shooting basically 6 days on, 2 days off, or 5 days on, 2 days off, and then you'll pick up a 6th day on the next week kind of thing for an episode. So basically 8 days, including shooting and weekend, times the episodes. So that's how long a season lasts. So it could be, if you're shooting a 6 episode thing, it could be, 2.5 months or whatever that is. 3 months. And then if you're shooting something that's 12 episodes or so, Army Wise was 12 on the work I was doing. And their seasons would vary. That was whatever that is, 5 months or so, 6.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So like that, it just totally depends, but that's pretty standard. I mean, most Nashville that I was on, One Tree, Army Wives, Revolution, they're a week. Pretty much a week is industry standard, week-ish, give or take, for your typical episodic TV. At least that in my experience. Now I will say that sitcoms, they're 3 camera, shot the same way that Young and Restless is shot. 1, 2, 3, shooting all at the same time. I've done some sitcom work, and wow, that's an experience. Live studio audience, that kind of stuff. You got to be on your game. Yeah, that's wild. But they shoot faster. They shoot at least, again, in my experience, 3-4 days. So because it's all contained in these locations. You're like, think about Seinfeld. 90% of it's in the guy's living room.
Right.
So that's the way a lot of it is. You shoot most of it in 1 or 2 or 3 locations. Your friends, the apartment, the Central Perk, and then the other apartments.
Did you ever have one where it was a comedy and a joke didn't go over, and the audience just cricket?
Thankfully, it was not my joke. But yes, I have seen one where it just kind of went, ew.
They fix that in post, or they take it out, or redo it, or what do they do with that?
In this case, it was on a show called Good Morning Miami, and one of the regulars on the show was the one who delivered it, and it just kind of, you sort of heard like a kind of, nobody really laughed, and it was funny because he just stopped and looked in the audience and was like, really? That bad, huh? Right, again. So he just backed it up and just started over again. And he was a pro, and he was hilarious. That guy, man, he was funny. So when he said that, and everybody started laughing, and then he did the joke again, they all died. So they were all cracking up. So, but anyway, other than that, no, I didn't see somebody who was like a guest star do it and like freak out. So that would suck.
Yeah, because I was wondering on those, because if they would just go in and throw in the canned laughter and just move on, or if they just, like you said, like they redo it and
probably
get a better reaction next time.
Imagine in some cases, if it doesn't really get the good joke, doesn't get the good laugh or whatever. I will say something that I didn't know. For me, on my first episode of sitcom work was, so we did this setup, and it was funny, and we did it, and it worked, and the audience laughed, and it's just smooth, and it was fun. It was great. And we did like 2 takes of it. And then everything stopped for a second. And there's like 10 guys and girls, and they all gathered together in a huddle. And I'm looking at it happening over here. I'm like, what is this? The others that are regulars on the show, they're all just kind of like, picking their fingers and talking about what they're having for dinner that night. And I'm going, what is going on? And these guys are all gathering, and you hear the audience behind me just kind of murmuring to themselves, talking. Now it's like it's intermission. And then there's this break from the huddle, and they all come swarming over to us. Well, it was the writers. It was all of the writers. Oh. And what they did was, and this is what you evidently do, and at the time I had no idea, they rewrote half the scene on the fly and said, here, try this joke.
Oh, wow.
To see. And it was hilarious what we had already done. I mean, it was good. It was funny, and it worked really well. And I liked it, and the other actors clearly liked it, and the audience loved it. But I guess they were just curious to see what some of the other writing would do. So they wrote a bunch of stuff or tweaked some stuff, and they handed it to them. And this was the part that killed me. This reminded me of some of the Young and The Restless stuff, which I had not done at the time. They didn't change any of my dialogue, but they changed 2 of the other guys. And they're going, okay. Ha, yeah. Okay. All right. They just kind of pitched it aside, and all right, we're good. I mean, it took 5 minutes, if that.
Oh, wow.
And they regurgitated like entirely new dialogue, bro. I mean, it was probably 70% changed, and it was hysterical. And they were boom, 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 hitting the jokes on point. I was blown away. Both those guys, and I was like, dang. I mean, I'm glad I'm over here doing my job, and I'm glad you guys think it's funny, but that was impressive. So, yeah,
that was pretty cool, though.
Wow. Yeah, I learned on that one. So.
I bet you did. Shit.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, so tell me about the movies now.
The movies. Okay.
I've been on a couple of sets, and it seems like there's a lot of time for you to do nothing.
There is an enormity of time to do nothing. You will see actors doing, you name it. I mean, writing scripts, learning to play guitar. I mean, juggling flaming axes. I mean, they're finding ways to fill their time because there's so much free time on a big budget film set. If it's a big budget, I mean, if it's a small budget, it moves significantly faster. It moves more like the episodic TV I just described. You know, anything under $1 million or so. And I mean, that's a nebulous number. It's not lower budgeted stuff. You're shooting an entire movie that's 90 some pages, typically maybe 100, low hundreds, in, you know, anywhere from 15 to 20 days. Well, that's moving. That's moving, especially if you're going on locations. You don't have controlled environments. You're moving to do that. And you got to have something of a budget to do it because you got to have the crew to get it done. So I've seen some amazing stuff get shot for $600,000 in 17 days. And I'm like, there's not a movie in there. There's no way they shot that movie in that money in that many days and then watch it and go, dang, that was good. So it is doable.
Got to have a good editor for that too, though.
Good editor and, you know, multiple cameras running at the same time, the new digital platforms. And the other thing too is what I'm really grateful for is that, you know, saying no, you can't have that. My daughter brought a sandwich into me a moment ago and it's sitting here and my dog is inches away eyeballing it. Yeah, Jax, no, out of the kitchen. Come on, back up. No. Go on.
That sounds like my dog.
Good boy. We have this one command called out of the kitchen. That was to get him to get out of the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And he will leave the kitchen if you do that. But now I'll say out of the kitchen, he'll leave whatever room.
Oh, that's so. What kind of dog is it?
He's an English Labrador.
Oh, okay, cool.
Big old English Labrador. Yep. Huge.
Big
you want to see him?
Yeah.
Bring him over there. Yeah, Jack.
Sure.
Come here. Right here.
Oh, that's a good looking dog, man.
Yeah. There's my sandwich.
I see. Yeah, he wants it.
He's smelling it. Yeah, that's the boy. Yeah, there he is. So
yeah, he's a good looking dog.
Oh, he's great. He's a fantastic dog. Of course, now I did that, and he's like, all right, you called me over. There's got to be a treat in here for me somewhere, so I'm going to break off part of the sandwich.
Yeah, mine does it. I give her a treat when we walk if she doesn't bark at other dogs or go after the people. So anytime we're walking, as soon as she sees somebody coming towards us or in their yard or whatever, she literally slows down, turns her head, looks up at me, and just keeps looking at me until I give her some kind of treat because that's what she expects. She's gotten to the point where it's got to be a treat. It's got to be. But in the house, she will lose her mind. She will bark at everybody. We have a glass door so you can see straight out into the yard, into the sidewalk. And everybody that walks by, she just rips into it like she wants to kill them. And then she goes, and we have a bed for her, and then she runs to her bed because she knows that I hate her barking at everybody. So she'll bark real quick and then run to her bed and just sit on her bed and hang out there.
That's awesome.
But if we're not home, I've heard her before just bark at these damn dogs. And then all she wants, if she does it and she's outside, she will bark like she's going to kill you, get up to you, and then just play, hey, let's play. But it scares the hell out of anybody she's running up to.
That is exactly what this guy does. He does the same thing. He will charge them, growling, barking, and everything. And they're terrified because he's 110 pounds. And he gets up to them and just whips them to death. It's the craziest thing. I'm like, why do you do that? Why do you terrify people?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Out of the kitchen. All right. Out of the kitchen. Out of the kitchen. Go on. That's it. I don't have any more. Go on. No. Go on. Good boy.
Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing that with him since forever. I watched that and I was like, that's what I do.
Yeah.
It's my one shared thing with Brad Pitt's character.
There you
go. So anyway, so back to movie making, right? That's where we were.
Yeah.
Before my dog jumped in. So an enormity of time, yes. So you're juggling flaming axes or whatever your predilection is to learn to do new skill sets. So you've got all this downtime because of the the budget for big budget stuff, they will shoot. So like Titans, for instance, Titans was like a $60 million movie, something like that, 70 million. And a movie like that, you shoot it over a 3-month period. You're shooting,
Right.
what is that, 2.5 pages a day. You want to talk about just snail's pace. I might shoot, for the days I'm on, I'll shoot one scene per day, and you're shooting, the setups are unbelievable. The stuff that they're doing and the way that they're setting it up and the way that they're covering it. They're covering it 6 ways from Sunday. You got one down here, then they move it up to here, then they move it over to here, then it's over this. Then, it's so many setups on the same shot, and that's what takes so much time. It's not the work. The work's the work. That doesn't ever change. Actually, speaking of the scene, is not what takes the time. It's we shot that, we liked it. You know what? Let's jigger this light. Everybody take 20. And they'll mess with a light for forever or whatever. And that's just, that's big budget filmmaking. That's also part of the reason why some of these blockbuster monster movies are so cool to watch, because they take so much time on the littlest of things. I saw a stunt get done once on a big budget movie. It was one of the Fast and the Furious movies. And they spent 4 or 5 hours just getting this car to come careening into space and just land at a certain point where it hit the camera.
Oh yeah.
Something that lasted that long on camera. 5 hours easy for 2 seconds worth of film time. And it was cool. It was a cool shot.
Yeah.
But holy cow, that on the lower budgeted movie, that would have been 4 pages. This was 2 lines,
Yeah.
So that kind of thing is the difference.
I was on that most recent Terminator shoot. Mm-hmm. They did it in where the hell was I? Budapest. They were shooting in Budapest, and cool. I was on set shooting some behind the scenes stuff for the catering people, and so I got to hang out on set some. But it was basically half a day of them shooting, so because I'd get there at like 4 a.m. or whatever and hang out, and we'd leave around 2. So it was about half a day of them shooting, and so I would shoot stuff in the morning and prepping, then I'd go watch, them film. And in 3 days of being there half a day for 3 or 4 days, I probably saw what amounted to 30 seconds to a minute of on screen.
Yep.
I was like, God, man. Yeah, there was some stunt, like you're saying, there was a stunt. The chick was running, jumping, and shooting a gun and turning. They must have done that one stunt 16 different times of her just doing the exact same thing, just over and over and over and over again. And it probably took an hour and a half for them to do 16 scenes, 16 takes of that.
Takes. Yeah. Crazy. So, not surprisingly, it all equates to money. It all equates to the budget. You got a low budget, you got to move, can't shoot everything. You got to have budget that take forever because they can. So, and I won't say that one is necessarily more fun than the other. Smaller budgeted stuff, you tend to be more of a family. You kind of have to be, because you're kind of all in it together and you got to work in this cooperative effort. And so it's much more like, we're all in this together, let's get it done. And bigger budgeted stuff, there's not that requirement from all of the work. So it's not as, I don't want to say it's not as cohesive, but it's not quite as gelled maybe in my experience, because people have a tendency to go their own separate ways a little bit more, and they're not spending as much time huddled together, working together, because it's stretched out over such a long period of time. But that being said, the flip side of it is you really do get to explore on a big budget movie if you're smart about it, because they're going to shoot the snot out of the scene. So that's like Candyland. If they're going to shoot the scene 26 times, now given you get to a point where you're like, okay, diminishing returns, I'm done. But if they're going to shoot it a bunch, something I learned to do a little earlier on, I was very fortunate that I figured it out. Partly it was another actor mentioned something similar to it to me, and I kind of took the next step. But every time I finish a take that feels really good to me, and I feel like, okay, that felt good, I felt connected, it felt alive, I'll turn to the director and go, did you like that? Like, yeah, liked it. Camera guy, Is that clean? Yep, clean. No hits, no misses, no whatever. We're good. Sound. Can you hear that? Was there any problems? Nope. All good. Perfect. I get to play now. They've got what they need.
Good.
Everything I do from here is just playground. I can do anything I want. So if the rest of it sucks or if it's awesome, they've got what they need. So now I give myself freedom. And of course, as you can imagine, when you give yourself freedom to do whatever you want, you find gold over and over and over because you're not trying to do anything. So at that point, it's just playtime for me. So with big budget stuff, you do get the opportunity to really explore the character, explore the scenes, explore the moments. So there's that. So there's pros and cons to all of it.
What are you doing? What are you doing on your downtime?
Oh, like right now?
No, not even right now, like on the set.
Oh, on set downtime. Oh, geez. I write a decent amount. I don't write screenplays. I've got a lot of ideas for that, but tons of people have ideas for screenplays. Writing a screenplay and having an idea for one, two totally different things. But there's some book stuff that I've written that I just enjoy. I read a good bit because I enjoy that. I don't have a whole lot of time to read outside of captive audience like that,
right,
where you're forced to sit in your trailer. That kind of stuff. Yeah. I've thought about taking up a musical instrument, but I know me, and I would get into it on set and then I would get home and put it down and be disappointed. So, yeah.
Okay. So how'd you become a producer, and what exactly does a producer do?
Yeah. So, I became a producer sort of by accident. It wasn't something I pursued directly, but some friends of mine were making a movie and they asked me to help. And they said, could you give us some pointers on some things? And it was one of those things where you don't realize how much you know about something that you kind of osmosed until somebody asks. And at that point I had spent probably 12 years as an actor, and I'd learned so much about the filmmaking process just because I was curious about it, that when they needed some assistance with the filmmaking process, I could answer a lot of it. And so long story short, I helped them with that. And then I think one thing sort of tumbled into the next, where it kind of got around that I could produce in some sort of smaller circles. And so basically from there, some questions, just got presented to me, and people would say, hey, would you be interested in producing on this project, or something maybe I booked as an actor. They would be asking me questions about the process while they were doing what they were doing. And I would say, well, if I were you, I might consider doing this instead of that. And then they'd realize that maybe I could have something to offer as a producer. And I'd end up taking a job as producer on something that I'd been hired to be an actor on. And I end up doing both, again, by accident. So it's not something like I've got a shingle hung up that says I'll produce for you. That's not, I can, but it's not a go-to for me. I know how to. I've done it a good bit. I suppose I've got some chops at it, but it's not.
So is there any difference between producing for motion and producing stills? Because I always was under the impression for some reason that, say, a movie producer is putting up a bunch of money and then has a lot of say in what happens. And then I know on still, and that the producer, basically I hire a producer and they help me with all the details and setting everything up. Is there a crossover between those two, or is it completely separate between motion and stills?
I don't know enough about the production side of stills to really be able to talk about how they cross-pollinate, but I would say that there's probably quite a bit that does cross. So, producing is a lot like what it sounds like. You're doing all the things that are necessary to get the wheels turning and keep them turning when you're making a production. So, you're lining up the scouting of locations. You're managing the people who are managing everybody else. You're overseeing, in some regard, the different departments. You're putting out fires. I mean, whenever there's a problem, the producers have to fix it. You're seeking money. You're talking distribution. You're helping with those kinds of channels and avenues in post. You're putting people together. You're firing people. It's that. It's kind of like manager over the whole thing. There's different layers of the producing process. There's usually multiple producers on every show, and they use their aptitudes in different ways.
Are you paid a salary for that? Like, is it there's like a certain amount of money you get for a producer, or is it one of those things where you get a cut out of whatever it makes?
It
or
can
it
be.
Just kind of depends on how you structure it.
Totally. Yeah. Can be one, the other, or both, as you can imagine, once again, with such an incredibly wide breadth of the filmmaking process, being from down here, shoestring, nothing, nobody's got any money, you're working for beanie weenies and bologna sandwiches. And then up here on the high end of the spectrum where it's Marvel, or whatever, it's anywhere in between. So yeah, some people are just working for points on the movie if it ever actually makes a dime. And then other people are, they're saying, if I'm going to do this, you're going to hit this minimal salary or whatever, plus, and then sometimes it's salary plus points and all that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I got one last question for you, and I'll let you go finish eating your sandwiches. What's the strangest, most interesting thing that's happened to you since you've gotten into this business?
Wow. Nobody's ever asked me that question. Strangest, most interesting thing that's ever happened to me since I got in this business. I'll tell you, man, I've had some funky stuff happen.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Some crazy things. Let's see. Well, I was shooting a movie in Atlanta that will remain nameless. And the cast decided that it was the end of the week and they wanted to go out and, put a few back. And our cast ended up mixing in with another cast. And then that cast had been hanging out with a musician who shall remain nameless. So this story is going to have a whole lot of remain nameless in it.
That's all right.
Protect all the guilty. So there are two cast groups from two different movies and a musician. And cumulatively about 9 or 10 of us. And we went from one bar where I think we basically got asked to leave. And then we went to another one, and the musician was inebriated and started making a lot of noise and commotion and basically picked a fight with another musician with whom he had a beef, who happened to be there. And that guy pulled a gun out. Yeah, the expression on your face, that's what we all did. Wow. So that guy pulls out a gun, to which the guy who's with us is like, you're not going to shoot it. You're not anything. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't tip this guy. What are you talking? You don't know. No. And of course, half of our crew is like, so out of it, or whatever, they've had enough that they're just like stunned silence. And the other half of us, me being one of them, are scrambling for the door. I'm just trying to get out, but the place is packed. So I'm having to try to weasel my way out of this. And the guy's like, you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. I'm like, that guy's got a gun. Stuff can happen. So needless to say, police were called and
wow, man.
Yeah. Others were thrown in the clink over that kind of stuff. I managed to, I left before things got out of control.
God, I'm glad you got out of there.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, in all of the dealings, it's nothing illegal or nefarious or anything like that went down, but it was just wrong place, wrong time. Well, I say illegal. The other guy who brought the gun.
Pulled a gun, yeah.
Whoa, that was a crazy incident. I've never had anything like that before or since, thank goodness. But that was just one of those things you hear about. And you're like, that's crazy. Fishtails, man. That stuff doesn't happen. It happened.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Well, man, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Everybody watching, listening, if you like it, be sure and thumbs up it. Tell your friends, share it with everybody, all that kind of stuff. And stay tuned. We'll keep putting these things out. Thank you, guys.